What's up, y'all? It's Yellow GX. So today we're gonna do a full ceramic coating paint correction. So buffing, polishing the paint on my GX. I'm not gonna go too aggressive on it. The reason being, it's my daily driver. It's probably gonna go camping at some point, and it's gonna catch more scratches. So when I buff and polish a car, I always think about like, how am I gonna use this car, right? So my other car's an NSX. My NSX, I correct it as best as possible because I know that it's just a weekend cruiser. But with this one, I gotta be realistic. I'm gonna use it every day, so it's probably gonna catch some new scratches. So is it worth it for me to go to the best finish possible ever? Not really, because I'm gonna scratch it again. So that's one thing that's important to note. I mean, paint is soft, it's gonna scratch. It's just a surface. So we're gonna do a full paint correction. So wash it, clay bar, buff, polish, and then I'm gonna ceramic coat it using G-Technique Crystal Serum Ultra. It's a ceramic coating. If you don't know what ceramic coatings do, they're basically a nanotechnology which can bond. It physically adheres to your paint, so it'll stick to your paint, and it gives the surface a more hydrophobic surface, meaning water will have less tension on the surface, so it'll roll off the paint much easier. It makes your washing process a lot easier. You can power wash dirt off of it like way quicker. It's actually pretty neat. And it also adds a small layer of protection to your paint. Not necessarily the scratches, because you will hear that out there. It's less about that. It's more about chemical resistance to the elements. So when I say elements, I'm talking about bird poop, rain, which is pretty pH acidic, and other roads, grime, and salt and sand and stuff like that can get on your paint. So the coating protects the paint. It also enhances and deepens the gloss of the paint as well. Now a lot of that does come from the paint correction, buffing and polishing prior, but the coating also boosts that effect. So just watch the whole thing. I will kind of talk through it as I'm going through it, and I hope you're learning something with this. And make sure you subscribe Yellow GX if you enjoy it. Please share your comments below. Let's talk GX470 all day long, because you know I'm in that world, and so are you if you're watching or you're trying to get in that world. So let's go through this. Alright, so the first thing that I gotta do is I just gotta wash the whole car. So I'm gonna power wash the whole thing from the top down and try to flush everything down. I will rinse it first, then I will foam gun the whole vehicle, wash it off, rinse it, then I'll bring it back in, and then we'll clay bar. Okay, she's all washed. So now we go into clay bars. So clay bar is basically, you'll see it's a little piece of clay. All I'm doing is I'm rubbing it across the surface of the car, and I'm trying to catch anything that's kind of embedded into the paint, because when things fly off the road, they kind of jam themselves into the paint even though you can't see it. But if you ever wet your car and just kind of put a gloved hand or a plastic bag over your hand and you rub it across the surface gently, you're going to hear like a little grittiness. And so that's what we're doing with the clay bar. I'm going to remove all that. And once that's done, then I can start doing all the buff and polishing. Alright, so I want to show you guys something here. So let's just look at how rippled this paint is. Let me switch this over to the manual focus. And you guys see that? see how bad this paint is? Now this was repainted. I know that because I've measured the paint, and so I just know that it's really thick. So I know that it's been repainted. But yeah, we can just see it looks pretty bad. Alright, so I quickly sanded this, but I want to show you how much high points there are. So you see how it's kind of gray in some areas, but it's kind of black? That's because the paint is really rippled. So I actually got to level it down. We'll see how long I actually go through with doing this, because this is just my daily driver. But I just want to show you guys how bad the paint is, because this door is actually repainted, and I know that because I measured it and it was really thick, much thicker than most factory paints. So that's what we're dealing with. I'm gonna just test this out a little bit with some sandpaper, and if not, I'm just gonna buff over it and call it good. Alright, so this is the side which I haven't done yet, and as you saw, I was wet sanding my passenger side door. And the reason I did that was, well, in a way I just wanted to kind of test myself and make sure I knew what I'm doing. But honestly, the ripples are so bad and they're all over the car. But as you can see, so if we look at, like, for example, let's look at the slate. There's a good amount of clarity around that pole and the base, but if we go over to the side that I did not wet sand, it's actually a lot more rippled. And basically it's just whoever repainted this car, these doors, did not take their time to refinish the paint later on. So it's not totally perfect. I'm gonna buff it out one more time. And we went with just 2,000, 2,500 and then the buffer. So it's a little bit better, but seeing that this is my daily driver and it's a camping car, I'm not gonna wet sand the entire thing, and honestly it'll take me way too long. So we're just gonna move forward and keep buffing. I'm leaving the roof alone because I'm going to put a roof rack on top. So when I'm going to work to put the roof rack on top, obviously I'm going to end up scratching the roof and stuff like that. Plus it's just at a high point, I don't really care. So that's the beauty of when I get to do my own vehicle. I just kind of pick and choose how I want to do it. But yeah, so finish correcting here, go on the other side, then we'll wipe the whole car down and go. Man. So we're a couple hours in. Paint correction takes a while. Luckily I'm not taking this to like the tip top. Otherwise, if I was, man, I'd be here for like 3 days straight and I wouldn't have a car to drive. So yeah, buff, re-level the clear coat, polish, make it shiny, look at it again. If you don't like it, buff again, and you're basically just re-leveling the surface. So you're kind of removing some of the factory clear coat that's on it, and that's how you make it better. The only downside to it is, as you're doing that, you're obviously removing some of the thickness, and so if you're not careful, you can burn right through, hit your paint, and eventually you'll have paint on your pad. And once you got that, then it's game over. We got to paint that panel again. So it definitely takes some experience, but it's not the scariest thing ever. Some of the tools today are actually pretty friendly. So yeah, I got a little more polishing to do, and then I can finally get to wiping off, and then we get to coating. So let's get into it. Okay, now that that's all done, I can finally go to my coating. This is the one I was talking about, Crystal Serum Ultra. And this is what their bottles look like. Alright, I'm literally just wrapping up right now. I've taken quite a bit of time, but I'm happy. Man, I've stayed at my car, I've looked at it way too long, but I can't stop staring at it. And I'm actually really bummed out that I'm gonna have to drive this thing again tomorrow and get it all dirty in these Minnesota snowy roads. But it is what it is, that's how it works. You know, it's almost 9 o'clock and I've been here since 8 in the morning. So that's about it. Tomorrow I'll show you how the coating works as I pour water on it. I'm going to let it just sit inside the shop here. It's about 70 degrees inside, so I'm going to let it cure overnight. And that way it'll just be nicey and kind of just baked on and adhere to the paint. And then tomorrow I'll just show you guys some shots from outside so you can see in real daylight how much gloss it has and how it shines. Alright, so day 2. Yeah, I let it cure overnight last night and I took it outside. Thankfully it's sunny out, so I'll show you a few clips around the car in the sun, which looks like in the daylight. But yeah, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. I'm just a little bummed that there's a ton of snow in Minnesota and I'm going to have to drive around and get the car all dirty again, but it is what it is. So yeah, enjoy, and hope you learned something in the video. If you have questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel, please. Alright, see ya.